Welcome, this is Nathan and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where India from adizzpro's wisco will be forming an empire. Now, if you haven't watched the last video, go into that one because I'm not going to explain it over this series as roughly as that episode. But basically adizzpro made this map. This is not my map, this is his map. I'm giving the countries on this map empires. This is episode 74. I know what just happened in episode 80. I know, okay? I know. Now, India, right now in the main series, they own parts of Bangladesh and this, light teal team. Obviously, I don't have episode 80's map. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get my hands on the episode 80 map. But what if India wanted to go on an expansion? This is definitely going to be more of a challenge for India to expand and create an empire. Because unlike the America, where they had literally nobody to worry about other than Mexico and Brazil, India's got some, significant powers around them. You've got the strongest country in the world, China. You've got Tibet. You've got the blue team, the red team, who are both combined really strong. Not far from there, you got Australia. And then, that's kind of it. So they're going to have to be very careful how they do this. Because, if they just do anything wrong, they're going to anger China and they're going to get absolutely obliterated. But where will they be first expanding? Well, actually, I don't know why am I doing? They're going to be uniting with a country. Like they did in the series, they're going to be uniting with the light blue team to begin their expansion. This is simply for... They try and put it this way. Okay, I don't know what I'm saying. Unlike in the series where this was peacefully, this one may have had some meddling with the government of this country. But, unfortunately for the other two countries in this peninsula, their days are coming to an end. As Indian troops will begin to roll into the purple team, and with the purple team, and then troops will roll into the yellow team, who, Jesus, I can't believe they're gone. They were such an old country. The yellow team gets absolutely destroyed as well. And after the main peninsula's gone, Sri Lanka will surrender as well. And I'm not gonna pause for this. In the peace treaty, both of these countries will be fully annexed. Just like that, India is now expanded. I don't know, is India in the real series? No, it's definitely not. India is the descendant of the Lion team, but I don't think they're anywhere near as big as the Lion team. But anyway, India is now expanded into the southern tip, and is now looking good. This looks really good. Where are they going to go now, though? A lot of the countries they bought are pretty powerful, except from a couple. I need to be careful, because China and Tibet are Tibet's not top 10, but I'm sure they're top 15. But, anyway, the next country India will be invading will be the orange team here. This, honestly, how this orange team is still alive is a shocker to me. They have probably some of the biggest plot armor in the series. I don't know how they're still going. I think World War V is where they're going to meet their end, but, Indian troops will have literally no problem pushing into this orange country. I think they're one of the weaker countries, but they have no problem pushing into this orange country. And almost immediately, they just wipe it out. Really, they literally wipe the entire thing out. This is the final weak neighbour. Just gonna point that out. The peace treaty for annexation. India ain't going easy on these countries. They're small, they're weak. You can fully annex them, and India is a powerful country. Anyway, just like that, India is now living up to the name of the Lion team. But at this point, it's kind of what do you do from here? You've got Persia, but you don't really want to upset the red team and blue team. Oh yeah, AN and all that doesn't exist. I should probably mention that. You've got Tibet. That would be very hard, because you've got the Himalayas, and also Tibet is a very powerful country. And I'm sure the people of Tibet would fight for its country. And then there's Bangladesh. Yeah, that's where India's going next. This war, India's justification for this war is that they want to liberate the people of Bangladesh from the fascist government. Yeah, we'll see how true that is. Indian troops will enter in, and this is going to be the hardest war yet, but I'm sorry, Bangladesh, you don't stand a chance. Bangladesh will do everything it can to stop India, but I'm going to say, I think I'm going to buff India a little bit in this video. Not too much, but a little bit. But while India is pushing into Bangladesh, China joins the war. And this is very, very, very odd, because India was not actually expecting China to join this war. Now, it's not only China, because we also see Vietnam join the war. I'm basically repeating what happened in the actual series. Vietnam will focus on recapturing the lands they lost to Bangladesh, and Bangladesh is now fighting a free-front war with two of the strongest countries in the world. Bangladesh, I think, has already lost its capital. We see India link up with Vietnam. India and Vietnam are actually pretty good allies. And we see India pushing out from here on. And we also see Vietnam doing some stuff. They're not doing too much because I don't know how long ago it was, the Civil War. But at the end of the day, the borders will end up looking something like this. So let's take a look at how these countries divide up Bangladesh. Taking a look at how Bangladesh has been divided up, we'll begin with Vietnam. Vietnam will be annexing all of modern-day Burma, our world Burma. India will be getting the most, resourceful and, developed lands, as they'll be annexing this area of Bangladesh. Weird. The map didn't do this with. It's probably because the colour of India's grey, and I know that maps don't appreciate that. Promise me, I've had it with my Civilization series, I know what it's like. And China, well, they're going to be a bit mad because they're only getting this. They're only getting that. Deal with China. Now, at this point, India is lost of where to expand. They haven't finished their empire. They're not satisfied with the land they have, even though they're probably one of the largest countries in the world. And, well, they're just upset. They want more land. Let's take a look at their options. China. Okay, I don't think I need to explain China. Tibet. Don't need to explain that. Himalayas. Vietnam, and then Persia. Persia is the only realistic option India's got left, and that's where they're going next. Even though Persia is a good ally of India, countries backstab other countries, we've seen it multiple times in history. Now, India knows that the red team will not be happy if India does this. So India goes over to the red team. It's like, hey, we're about to invade Persia, but we don't want to get on your bad side. So we're going to give you two options. You can stay out of the war and we will sign a non-aggression pact where we cannot invade you, or you can join the war and split Persia up with us. The red team will look at this and decide that the best option is to join India and divide up the Persian team. Mostly because if they leave it, India is probably going to act all of Persia, and at that point India is going to be huge, and their influence is going to be absolutely gigantic, spreading all the way up here into Central Asia and Russia, and also spreading all the way over here to Europe. So, the red team doesn't want that. They want their influence over the Middle East to stay like it, because, India can influence these two and get those two on their side, which kind of already are. So, together, the red team in Persia will begin their invasion of... India will begin their invasion of the Persian team. This is no doubt going to be India's hardest war. I'm just going to straight up say that. In my opinion, Persia is stronger than Bangladesh in the main series. But here we see the red team and, the red team and India, two really strong countries invading Persia. They ain't going to stand a chance. The red team will mainly focus on trying to capture the coast, while also pushing in around here. And India's main target will be to link up with the red team which is also going to be pushing up against the coast. They will sneak around the coast and will eventually link up with the red team. And we see here that Persia is just collapsing. And it's around this point that Persia just decides, you know what, we ain't winning this war, let's just surrender. They were definitely holding back, but they weren't holding back enough to, like, stalemate or anything. So with Persia gone, let's take a look at this peace treaty. And taking a look at the peace treaty, India will be annexing all this land by here. And also creating horrible... I don't know what's going on with this. And for the red team, they won't be getting much, but hey, you're one step closer to reforming the old empire, you can't really be upset. So just like that, India has now invaded yet another country, and at this point, countries around India are like, okay, like, they're starting to set the alarms. The main country being Tibet, who will form a non-aggression pact with the gold team, a defensive pact with the gold team. And another country that's getting alarmed is China, as India is now almost at number 2. I mean, they probably are number 2. But at this point, India's going to take a break. You know, they've invaded a lot of land, and their stability's not looking the hottest. So they're going to take a break for like a couple of years. Until they decide that they want to form until they decide that there is really only one option left for them. If they want to keep expanding, there is only one way to go. Central Asia. So this is where India decides, you know what? What about we form a huge puppet in Central Asia that will earn us a ton of money? Now, which countries will be in this puppet? Well, India is thinking about these countries by here. The pink team, that's too much. They were also thinking about the teal team, but they decided, no, we don't need that. All these countries combined, I'm probably just going to say it, they wouldn't help each other. I mean, these guys would, but, you know, you've got a communist and a authoritarian country. They ain't going to help them. So it's really just going to be these 4 versus India, and the green team's not getting involved. I can't believe the green team's even visible on this map. So almost immediately, about 1 million troops, this is going to be a blitzkrieg strategy, about 1 million troops are going to march straight into the yellow team. That is way too big. 1 million, that is too small. 1 million troops are going to march straight into the yellow team, with the goal of wiping these guys out first, as they are probably the strongest of the bunch. We also see a division heading into the green team, which the red team's kind of like, okay, why? And the poor green team, they stand no chance. The green team will be the first country to fall, and once the yellow team begins to lose land and the orange team begins to get invaded, yeah, these countries already put 2 and 2 together and realise that it's kind of game over. The orange team will surrender, and so will the yellow team. These 2 are fighting each other, and this team, they get invaded a little bit, they use the capital, and they just surrender. And these 2 get invaded. So, just like that, India has completely invaded Central Asia, almost Central Asia, and the entire world is now almost getting ready to take down India, because they are expanding a lot. Let's take a look at what India does for Central Asia. So taking a look at this peace treaty, I will get onto the thing in a minute. India will be annexing these 2 areas of land from the green team and yellow team. And let me just do this. But as for the rest of Central Asia, India will be merging all of them into one puppet. This is going to be a huge puppet, and India's goal for this puppet is to earn a bunch of money from them. Now, there is almost every country on the border of this thing is like, okay, yep, this is interesting. But at this point, India is done with its empire. I think in the real series, if India were to go on expansionist conquest, it would look something like this. I don't think they'd invade Tibet or China. I think they'd want to get a puppet in Central Asia. This puppet in Central Asia is a very, like, last-ditch thing. What can India do from the future? Well, they could probably do an invasion of Tibet. That would probably get backlash from them, though. They could attempt to take on China. They could expand their puppet into the cyan team or, like, the pink team. Maybe start influencing some of the countries in the Middle East, but, that's kind of the red team's area. You don't really want to do anything with that. But that's actually going to do it for India's Empire video. Really enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I didn't have a big climax war. I don't think there would be a war. If anything, China would get involved, but I don't think they would. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.